Wood Rule, aka Megablitz. In today's video, we're going to be looking at and answering a very specific question. Is Rapid Box still good? Now, I would say peak time for Rapid Box was at NAIC just this last year, where Cyrus Davis had piloted and won NAIC with it. Now, it's still played today, but is it still good? Is it still a viable option? What tech cards do we have in the deck to compete with things like Charizard or other decks in our meta that we didn't have at NAIC last year? So that's what we're going to be looking at today and seeing if Rapid Box is still a good deck. If you guys are enjoying the content I'm making here on the channel, don't forget to leave a like, smash that subscribe button. I really would appreciate it. Alrighty guys, let's jump right in to that deck list. Alrighty guys, and here we are with that Rapid Box deck list. Just to quickly go over how this deck list works and some of the tech cards in it. To start us off, we got Inteleon VMAX with G-Max Spiral for 2 energy, 70 plus. You can put an energy attached to Pokemon back into your hand and then do 70 more damage so you can get to 140. But its ability Double Gunner, discard a water energy from your hand, and then you can put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So 2 damage counters on 2 different Pokemon can be really strong once you pair that with Medicham V. Put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. If a Pokemon is knocked out by this attack, take another turn after this one. So Yoga Loop, put 2 damage counters on, get KO'd, take another turn, but you can't use Yoga Loop again. But taking another turn is incredibly powerful. And then we're able to manipulate damage counters with Radiant Alakazam with that Painful Spoons ability. Once during your turn, move 2 damage counters from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another one of their Pokemon. And then, of course, as well, our big hitter, we got Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX Gale Thrust. This Pokemon moves from your bench to your active spot, does 120 more damage. But G-Max Rapid Flow, discard all energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 120 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. Don't apply a weakness or resistance to the bench Pokemon. And then to find all these Rapid Strike pieces, we play Octillery Rapid Strike Search. Once during a turn, friend Rapid Strike card, put it into your hand, and then shuffle up. So really, really helpful here, and it allows us to find certain pieces like our Rapid Strike Energy. This card can only be attached to a Rapid Strike Pokemon. If it's attached to a Rapid Strike Pokemon, it provides a combination of water and fighting energy 2 at a time, which is incredibly strong because it fits perfectly with Medicham, Urshifu, and Inteleon. And then, of course, we can also find Tower of Waters. It makes each of our Rapid Strike Pokemon retreat cost have 2 less, so effectively it makes all of them free because they all have 2 or less. And then, of course, we also want to play the Tower of Waters to bump Path to the Peak as well, so we can still double gunner and put damage counters and manipulate them with Radiant Alakazam as well. And then for some of the other key tech cards we have in the deck here, we got Earthen Vessel, so we can find the water energies a little bit faster. Energy Retrieval to put them back into our hand. Counter Catcher, because this deck does tend to fall behind a little bit at times, but we don't need to play Boss because we're attacking the active and the bench either at the same time or at different points, so Boss doesn't really quite fit in the deck. Forest Seal Stone for that Star Alchemy, and then of course Technical Machine De-Evolution as well for that Gardevoir and Charizard matchups, because if you double gunner and put a bunch of damage counters on a Charizard EX or a Gardevoir, and then you De-Evolution and bump it back to a Ralts or a Charmander, and you're able to KO it, you can take 1 or 2 prize cards depending on how you're doing it, and then they're out of rare candy, they have the Charizard EX or Gardevoir in their hand, and they can't really do a whole lot with it, and you put them in a position where they have to evolve it again. So it's really, really helpful and a really powerful card in that specific matchup. So for the full deck list here, we got 3 Inteleon V, 3 Inteleon VMAX, 2 Rapid Strike Urshifu V, 2 Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX, 2 Remoraid, 2 Octillery, 1 Lumineon, 1 Medicham, 1 Radiant Alakazam, 3 Iono, 2 Korrina's Focus, 2 Professor's Research, 2 Melanie, 1 Irida, 1 Arven, 1 Clara, 1 Professor Turo Scenario, 4 Battle VIP Pass, 4 Ultra Ball, 2 Energy Retrieval, 1 Hisuian Heavy Ball, 1 Counter Catcher, 1 Escape Rope, 1 Nest Ball, 1 Earthen Vessel, 2 Forest Seal Stone, 1 Technical Machine De-Evolution, 3 Tower of Waters, 5 Water Energy, and 4 Rapid Strike Energy. Alrighty guys, let's jump right in to that gameplay. Alrighty guys, and here we are with that Rapid Box gameplay. At our coin flip here, we definitely want to be going first with this Rapid Box deck. I want to be able to evolve my Inteleon V into VMAX, the Rapid Strike Urshifu V into the VMAX, and be able to evolve the Remoraid into Octillery as well. So we are going to be able to go first here, which is exactly what we want, and we're not going to get too bad of a hand here. We're actually going to get Rapid Strike Urshifu V and a Remoraid, which isn't too bad. We would like to see an Inteleon V as well, so we can evolve it into the Inteleon VMAX. But it looks like we're going up against a Lost Zone box. Now, we don't know what Lost Box deck that would be. There could be tons of them because there's so many Lost Zone decks in the format here. But we're going to be able to bench that Remoraid, find an Inteleon V off of our Hisuian Heavy Ball here, be able to bench the Inteleon, and then I contemplate actually on attaching the energy to the Urshifu, and then I was like, I have Inteleon VMAX. Double Gunner is going to be way more important in this matchup than attaching that energy to the Urshifu now. So we end up waiting off on that just a little bit. And they're going to bench a Manaphy here. Now, Manaphy is really important in this matchup because it shuts off my Gmax Rapid Flow from my Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX. So we want to try to deal with that Manaphy when it arises so we can try to pull off that Gmax Rapid Flow. So if we're able to like move some damage counters around or maybe even Yoga Loop it so it's kind of out of the question would be ideal. But Manaphy really does make the matchup a little bit tough. But they're going to be able to battle VIP pass here. We're going to see that Ditto. Now, the Ditto tells me that you're not on Lost Tina, and you're probably not on, like, Lost Sablezard, really. And then the Radiant Greninja just more confirms that. And now I'm like, okay, you're probably on, like, maybe Turbo Lost Box, maybe Lost Box Kyogre, or a Lost Paradox deck of some sorts. But they're going to be able to use that transformative start to be able to swap that Ditto out for a Comfey, be able to flower selecting here, and just start going through the deck, trying to get some more cards in the Lost Zone to try to set up for that Cramorant Spit Innocently, which they're going to be able to do here. They're going to be Spit Innocently for 110, which puts me in a position where I need to respond back because I'm now in danger of them just two-shotting the Urshifu and taking 2 prize cards. So we're going to be able to double Gunner first here, 2 damage counters on that Manaphy and the Comfey. Professor's Research, find Radiant Alakazam, Octillery, and another Inteleon V. And we find that for Seal Stone. So now I'm like, okay, we got a lot of options here. We're able to move some damage counters. We got Star Alchemy. We got Rapid Strike Search. How do I want to go about this? And this is the order that I felt was best. So we're going to Rapid Strike Search for Tower of Waters here. So I can free retreat out of the Urshifu into the Inteleon. I'm going to be able to Painful Spoons, move some damage counters around. This is just more setting up for like the potential problems of Manaphy. And then I'm going to be able to Star Alchemy, find that Rapid Strike energy so I can attach it to the Inteleon VMAX and have access to it now because I'm going to Gmax Spiral. By doing extra damage, I'm going to put it back into my hand. So I do 140, KO in the Cramorant, and now I have access to that Rapid Strike energy Rapid Strike energy next turn. And I don't even need to use Rapid Strike Search if they can't KO it this turn. So we're going to get counter capture on the prize cards here, which isn't ideal. Usually we're going to be ahead on the prize race against Lost Box just because of how the matchup goes. And Lost Box tends to be a little bit of a longer deck, more of a comeback deck. But we saw that Dark Energy get discarded there. Now that tells me, okay, you're definitely on like Lost Paradox. You definitely got like Roaring Moon in the deck. Probably got like Iron Hands, maybe a Tropius or something as well. And now that puts actually us in a little bit of danger because Inteleon and Octillery are weak to electric. So if they're able to pull off an Amp You very much on the Octillery or the Inteleon V, even the Inteleon VMAX, you're going to be able to take a lot of prize cards. So now I'm like, okay, I'm not super pressured right now, but I'm definitely in a position where I need to make sure that I can deal with the Iron Hands when it arrives as quickly as possible. So they're going to be able to counter catch you here. And if they pull up the Rapid Strike Urshifu V, then they can get 2 prize cards. But KOing this Octillery is going to be so much more beneficial for them and worse for us because that's our search engine. So they're going to be able to retreat into that Cramorant, hit Octillery for 110 and KOing it. So now our Rapid Strike Search ability is completely offline. We don't have another Remoraid, and we'd have to evolve into one, so that would take a little bit of time. So I'm like, okay, I've kind of just wrote it off. I'm like, I'm probably going to have to do this without the Rapid Strike Search, and that's just what it's going to have to be. So we're going to Melanie here, attach that Water Energy to the Urshifu VMAX, draw into the Urshifu VMAX, evolve, and I'm like, all right, that's absolutely perfect. And then we're going to be able to attach the energy to the Inteleon Gmax Spiral, putting it back into our hand again to take an addition, to take the prize card on that Cramorant to do a little extra damage. And now I'm like, okay, if they Iono us, that's not great because now I've lost access to the Rapid Strike energy card in my hand, which can be really useful because now if I can find a Tower of Water or something, I can just retreat out of this Inteleon and then just put the energy onto the Urshifu and try to go that route. But I also need a double gunner here, and I don't have any other energy in the discard pile, so these 2 energy retrievals are completely useless in my hand. And then we see that Iron Hands EX get benched, and I'm like, that's not great. They're going to Super Rod, put some energies back into the deck here. And I'm like, okay, I need to respond in the best way possible. So the order of operations is deal with the Iron Hands EX as fast as I possibly can. I need to make sure that this thing doesn't get out of hand, because those Ampy Very Muches can get crazy. So we're going to Escape Rope here. I'm going to put up that Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX, because if I put up the Inteleon, then I'm in danger of an Ampy Very Much. If I put up the Radiant Alakazam, then I have to find the Escape Rope to get out of it, because Tower of Waters doesn't let me free retreat out of that Radiant Alakazam either. So we're going to see the Mirage Gate, a Water, and a Psychic Energy onto that Iron Hands. So we're definitely trying to set up for an Iron Hands EX play here, and we've put them in a position where Counter Catcher's online, so they don't even need to play boss, because Counter Catcher, we're ahead on price card. So that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to Counter Catcher up that Inteleon V, and then they got to get to that Electric Energy. They're going to be able to switch card into the Iron Hands, attach that Electric Energy for turn, amp you very much, take 3 prize cards off of our Inteleon V. So now I'm like, all right, I definitely need to pull something out here. I definitely got to just do this in the right order. And I'm like, all right, this is possible. We can definitely get there. So put up the Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX. I have the Rapid Strike Energy in my hand, so I need to attach that first, because I'm in a position where I'm going to have to Iono to try to find into some water energies to double gunner here. We're going to find in to Tower of Waters 2 water energies. We're going to remove that Pokestop, and I don't really realize it first, and then I'm like, oh wait, I just have it, right? Double gunner, attach, or sorry, put 2 damage counters on the Manaphy and the Greninja here. Don't even need to play the Earthen Vessel. Don't even know why I did it. We're going to be able to Radiant Alakazam, Painful Spoons, move only 10 damage counters to that Manaphy, take 1 prize card, put me at 3. I'm going to be able to G-Max Rapid Flow, KOing that Radiant Greninja and the Iron Hands EX, because the weakness is still affected on the active Pokemon. So we're going to be able to take 4 prize cards in 1 turn with this absolutely insane play with Rapid Box. And that's one of the strong suits of the deck, is being able to pull off those really, really big turns where you're able to take multiple prize cards in a single turn, or even take an extra turn as well. Alrighty guys, let's jump right in to that outro. Alrighty guys, and that's going to do it here for our Rapid Box gameplay. Absolutely insane. And to answer the question from the beginning of the video, is Rapid Box still a good deck? Is it still viable? I personally believe so. You're able to make some really, really cool plays with Rapid Box, and you have some pretty okay matchups in the meta here. Like we just saw, being able to take 4 prize cards in 1 single turn with that G-Max Rapid Flow, and with the help of that counter manipulation in combination with double gunner. Be able to double gunner, counter manipulation, move damage counters to the Manaphy, KO it, put ourselves in a position where we can take 3 prize cards off that G-Max Rapid Flow is really, really strong. So even if you aren't able to pull off multi-prized KOs in 1 single turn, the deck's also able to take an extra turn, which is something that a lot of decks can't do. I think Rapid Box is able to make some really cool plays, and is able to do it against some of the bigger decks in the format. So I personally think that it's a good deck still, and it's still very viable. I'm going to make sure to put that deck list in the description below, so if you guys want to try it out for yourself, you'll be able to. If you've been enjoying the content I'm making here on the channel, don't forget to leave a like, smash that subscribe button. I really would appreciate it. Alrighty guys, I'll see you in the next one. Peace!